Hi, welcome to this third debate conducted by LoudST. LoudST is a platform for engaging debates and meaningful action. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Subhash Chandra. I am a political consultant and a co-founder of LoudST. Today in this particular event, we also have Amitabh Tiwary, who is also a co-founder of LoudST and also a political consultant. Joining us is Dr. Sachin Reddy, who is based out of Bangalore and a grassroots political enthusiast. He's traveled across Karnataka. And finally, last but not the least, we have Vibhav Joshi, who is an infrastructure specialist and a veteran political follower. He has a good understanding of the money trail in politics and also an understanding of the more practical issues that influence politics today. Hopefully this particular initiative of ours will be quite insightful and meaningful for you. Do write to us after watching this particular video and share your thoughts on how we could do better.
So when it comes to history, BJP is clearly ahead because Congress stands no chance if history holds on in the state. That is, Congress will not get re-elected. And when it comes to chemistry and arithmetic, both are in favor of Congress, the incumbent government. Why I say this is because the Ahinda politics, although seems shallow, is strong on the ground. The majority of SCs, majority, that is overwhelming majority of minorities, and some of the OBCs, especially the Kurubas and Idigas. So these are the vote blocks with the Congress, which add up to somewhere around 42%. Even if you take out around 5 to 6%, that still comes down to 36%. And there are other vote blocks which add to this Congress base. That is, even among Lingayats and even among Okaligas and Brahmins, also there are people who vote for Congress. So Congress starts off on a solid arithmetic ground, also a solid chemistry. Why I say this is because there are no conflicting blocks of voters within this coalition. Like in say in Bihar, when they tried to build a Kurmi Yadava Muslim vote block, there was a clear conflict between Kurmis and Yadavs. That was historically. But in the state, what Congress is trying, what Siddaramaiah is trying, that is not the case. There is no conflict between any of the OBCs or the Muslims, OBCs or the SCs, or SCs or the Muslims. So there is no conflict. So overall, I would say chemistry and arithmetic favors Congress, whereas history favors BJP.
Amitabh.
Yeah, I agree with what Sachin has said. For me, I think the battle is being keenly fought, and the battle is being fought on 5 fronts. One, as Sachin mentioned, is a social engineering battle, which is the Libra versus the Ahindas. The Ahindas are numerically large in number, and the Libra is numerically lower in number. Whoever is able to hold onto its vote block and then dent into the other party's vote block, like BJP can dent into the non-Kuruba OBCs. Like we've heard the term the non-Yadav OBCs in UP. This term, the non-Kuruba OBCs, will be heard a lot in Karnataka going forward. So whoever is able to hold onto their vote blocks and make a bigger dent into the other vote block and wean away the Vocaligas from the JDS, because JDS doesn't have any other anchor voting segment apart from Vocaligas, will be able to finally win the battle. The second battle is the larger majority versus minority battle, which BJP will be trying to play. The unified Hindutva vote bank, as many people call it, and if Hindus are numerically larger in number, 84% versus 16%, and if people vote on the pattern of Hindutva, BJP has an edge on this battle. However, it is not very easy because the literacy levels in Karnataka are pretty high compared to some of the North Indian states. Then is the aspirations battle, which is predominantly the urban versus the rural battle. The urban seats are around 70 odd, and the rural seats are around 170 odd. We all know that BJP does well in urban pockets, and in the rural pockets, Congress has an edge. Congress does comparatively better than in rural in urban battles. So there is something which needs to be focused on. The fourth is clearly the leadership battle, because elections more and more are becoming or are becoming dependent upon the popularity ratings of the leader. And here comes in the local leadership, which is Siddharamaya versus Yadurappa, as well as the combined leadership, which is Siddharamaya plus Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi plus Yadurappa. The last battle, which I think is of the landlords versus the agricultural workers. The Wakaligas and the Lingats have been the or are have most of the land, and they have been dominating the political landscape of Karnataka for a while. The number of MLAs I think is approx 50%, whereas their population is only around 29%. Whereas the workers or the peasants are mostly tribals and Dalits. So whichever party is able to win most of or majority of these battles will ultimately win.
Good.
Joshi,
Yeah, I'm done.
Want me to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think one thing we have to understand is that we are still 28 days away from the election. And still that way, early days, the first list of BJP has come, which is mostly of, I think, their incumbents and strong seats. Congress has yet to come up with the first list. So can also matter. The last minute campaign that has yet to start. So far, what is happening is Janadesh, Janashirwad Yatra, and sort of rallies by Amit Shah and all. The candidate campaign for constituency is yet to start. What I'm hearing in this, there's a constituency specific anti-incumbency. I think if I'm not wrong, but 2013 in Chhattisgarh, a lot of MLAs on both sides lost. Ended up forming the government, but their incumbent MLAs lost. So while you have 122 MLAs of Congress right now, be sure that at least 1/3 of MLAs always face constituency specific anti-incumbency. While people were happy with Akhilesh and all at Lucknow level, you move out of Lucknow, and as you move towards, let's say, Kannauj or Farrukhabad, people were not so happy with Dharmendra Yadav or, let's say, Shivpal Yadav. Same thing happened in Gujarat also. The moment you move out of Ahmedabad airport, you could see, a different flavor of people stop. So one has to be careful of constituency specific incumbency which works, because people are always unhappy. One thing I'm saying is people are always unhappy, whatever you might do. So one has to look at the constituency level anti-incumbency, the candidates, their campaign, the last minute, and also please remember that let's split this into two parts. One is where Congress is fighting as an anti-incumbency of Congress, which is nullified by the anti-incumbency of the central government. But JDS is fighting in, let's say, 15-20% seats without any baggage of anti-incumbency. So actually, you are having two elections. One is 80% seats, Congress versus BJP, anti-incumbency qualifying each other, and 20% seats.
Joshi, could you speak up a little louder? It's not coming through.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now better.
So JDS is fighting without any incumbency message right now, and that changes the complexion of this game. And also, please remember that these parties, like I have seen International Lokdal, JDS, AIUDF, Shiva Sena, people may leave them, join them, doesn't matter. These are family-centric outfits. So they don't cease to be relevant, or they don't cease to exist just because 7 people left on a particular day. So that you have to keep in mind. Within this, there are 2 elections. There is not one election. And one person in this is fighting without any baggage of income. Right now, they are nowhere. It's like Congress in Delhi right now. They can say whatever they want because they are neither in state government nor they're in central government or they are in NCD. That you have to keep in mind. There is a third player, not a very marginal player, who is fighting without any incumbency package. It may not be seen on social media, but like in the national local, they also have their strengths. Okay. Now back to Subhash.
Yeah, hi, Joshi, I agree with you. I think one thing is very clear that yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, one thing is very clear that as far as this particular election is concerned, the only thing certain is that the JDS will be part of the next government. That part is very, very clear. Now, whether Kumaraswamy will be the chief minister or not, only time will tell. But JDS, in the last 2 weeks, we are seeing as they have started campaigning that the momentum has picked up quite a bit. And how many seats they'll win is always debatable, whether it's 25 or 40 seats. It is very clear that some way or the other they'll be a part of the next government. I think rest of the points have been very clearly and in a very unbiased way articulated by everybody. So I don't know what is the thing we're really debating on. But one thing that I am we are beginning to pick up a trend is the seat level anti-incumbency, particularly against the Congress party. And as Joshi ji pointed out, there is a fair degree of candidate level anti-incumbency, which may not be party related or even Siddaramaiah related. So I think that is one big risk that we're increasingly seeing for the Congress party. As far as the BJP is concerned, there are a lot of people, particularly outside Karnataka, BJP supporters who feel that Modi is going to go and change the game. At least my own understanding, the metrics is that those who believe in Modi are already voting for the BJP. The swing voters may or may not be substantially swayed by Modi as they were in Gujarat. I think today I pulled out the Karvi survey and was looking at the survey done in Gujarat. There is a 20-25 point gap between where Modi was in Gujarat and where he's here. It is not to say there will be no benefit, but that benefit will be, I think, quite marginal. At the end, I think for each of the parties, for JDS, it is about how many seats we can win and make ourselves in a very comfortable position before the results come out or after the results come out, so that we are part of the alliance as a very important partner, maybe even lead the alliance if we can get a good deal. For BJP, it's about choosing all the right candidates, getting Modi in all the swing constituencies and win the win a majority of the seats. The closer to 100 that BJP is, the less reliant they will be on JDS and Congress or even other parties, and which includes independents. As far as the Congress is concerned, their biggest risk I see right now is how many dissidents they will have, particularly people who they will not give a ticket in the next 15 days. How many of these people will contest against the party? That is the biggest risk at this moment. Otherwise, this is probably one of the most exciting elections in recent times. I think after Bihar, this probably is one of those, Tamil Nadu also I think was a very close election. Otherwise, I think this is one of the closest elections we're seeing in a few years. So that for all of us, this is really a good time. Any of you want to take the floor? There are some questions. I'll just probably run them one by one and get people to ask these questions themselves. I think the first one was Sachin. Sachin, I'll just put you on board and you can ask the question. I'm just looking for you on the screen. Hold on. Yeah, there you have Sachin.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Yeah, please speak
hello.
up. Yeah, please speak up, Sachin.
Yeah, I think I sense there is an undercurrent that the Kumarana should become a chief minister across the caste lines. I mean, irrespective of the caste, the people are saying they want to see Kumarana as the CM in the South Karnataka. So, is there an undercurrent that the media is ignoring completely?
Sachin, you want to take that?
So, as far as this question is concerned, the vocal support for H.D. Kumaraswamy as a chief ministerial candidate is largely from the Vokkaligas. Even in South Karnataka, it's largely from the Vokkaligas. People do say that he was a good chief minister, that they would like to see him as chief minister another day, another time. But the most vocal support is from the Vokkaligas. It is not across the caste lines, especially not among the STs not among the SCs, not among the Muslims, because they know that if their vote splits, BJP gets benefited, even in South Karnataka. That said, I don't think the media is ignoring it either, because you see consistently in poll after poll, 20 to 25% and as high as 28% in one of the local channels polls. Kumaraswamy is picked as the best CM candidate. And what is the vote share that JDS is polling in the same poll? It is polling closer to 18 to 20%. That means there are so many people who want to see Kumaraswamy as chief minister, but do not want to vote for JDS because that is not a viable option in their constituency. So overall, what I mean is, no, the media is not ignoring this fact. There is vocal support, and the most vocal support is among the Vocal League Alliance, and it is not across the caste lines.
Okay.
Okay, so there is another question. This is scan the bands. Asking a question, scan the bands. Can you hear? No. It's a good name, scan the bands. Could you ask your question, please, on the Karvi poll? And I'll get Vibhav ji to kind of answer this question because he's the I think, okay. Joshi ji, the question was, what do we do about, what is your view about the India Today poll? Is it credible? Are there some problems with the poll? Sorry, give me a sec. Joshi ji, 1 second, just give me a second. All the practice sometimes doesn't help.
It's fine.
Please go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, if you look at the micro level numbers, they have talked to 28,000 people. That's like 125 people in each constituency, which is a decent size, very good size. And if their profiling is correct, they should be able to come up with the correct numbers. But what I'm not able to understand is that with 4% lead in, I think with 4% lead in coastal, 4% lead in Hyderabad, Karnataka, Congress is getting more seats. They are showing 4% lead for BJP in Hyderabad, Karnataka and giving more seats to Congress. Other thing is they are giving 5% lead to Congress in Bangalore region but giving equal number of seats to BJP and Congress. And despite all this river water dispute and everything else, they are giving 6% lead to BJP in Mumbai, Karnataka. But despite that 6% lead, they are not able to sweep. So either there are very, very strong candidates in each constituency, so these numbers don't make sense. Otherwise, with 4% lead for BJP in vote share in Hyderabad, Karnataka, why would Congress get more seats and why would BJP Congress get equal number of seats in Bangalore when the vote share difference is 5% in favor of Congress? And why would BJP not sweep Mumbai, Karnataka with 6% lead also? And why there is a 6% lead if river water issue and Lingayat issue is really working or not working? So at the micro level, I am confused. Honestly, I don't doubt anybody's integrity or effectiveness or anything. But 37%, 35%, 95 seats, 80 seats makes sense. If you scratch the surface, look at the numbers region-wise, I am confused. Unless they have really found that within the sub-regions, in each level, in each constituencies, there are discrepancies. Because 125, talking to 125 people in each assembly constituency is a decent thing. And I think they must have done nice profiling, male, females, city, semi-urban and things like that. So I don't know really. Headline numbers look okay, but if you look at the this thing, I don't know. With 4% lead, somebody will not get less number of seats. Generally, it doesn't happen. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my experience as well. I think the gentleman who runs the poll by the name Ranjit Chip, I think he's got a 30-40% accuracy record. I would trust the vote shares much more than the seat shares. The vote shares seem to be fairly okay. So I think the issue.
Somebody must be running that, like Professor Rajiv Kandikar runs a mathematical model.
Correct.
I would like to ask there the person who has worked on the mathematical model that in Hyderabad, Karnataka, when BJP has 4% lead, how come Congress is getting more seats?
Correct. I think that conversion is the big issue. I think that's a big issue.
In Bangalore, if the Congress is leading by 5%, how come the seats are equal? Similarly, why BJP is not sweeping Mumbai, Karnataka despite 6% lead? If 6% lead ke saath Lalu Prasad Yadav had got 178 seats out of 243 in Bihar. So I don't know. I mean, 6% ke saath to somebody should sweep. Why BJP is not sweeping Mumbai, Karnataka despite 6% lead, and why 6% lead is there if river water dispute and Lingayat and other things are working, and why with 4% lead in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Karnataka, BJP is behind. So I think it's not adding up. So, I'm not doubting anybody's integrity, but it's not adding up.
Yeah, that's right. I think I did some calculation yesterday.
Okay.
Took out the poll numbers and did some calculations. With 4% lead in Hyderabad, Karnataka, and 6% lead in Mumbai, Karnataka, it works out to around 5.35 to 5.4% overall lead in 90 seats of North Karnataka.
But they are not sweeping.
Yes, forget about all the local seat level discrepancies. There are hardly 10 seats where Congress is absolutely undefeatable in these 90 seats. With 5.3 to 5.4% lead, BJP will take, not may take, it will take close to 55 to 60 seats in the 90 seats of North Karnataka. That is a given. The second point is Vibhav Joshi sir was highlighting about Mahadai issue and Lingayat issue. There are two aspects to both these issues. One is that whether these issues are playing an important role at the voting choice level or not. Second one, if they are playing an issue, a role, which way the swing is going. That is important. One thing that I've noticed about Mahadai is that it has hurt BJP and Congress both equally. Okay, so that is the case. But the thing is, most of the sitting MLAs in North Karnataka are from Congress. One.
Yes.
And the state government is that of Congress. And some of the steps that the Congress government tried to play were a little dodgy. And the voters at the ground level, on one hand, they were blaming the center. On the second hand, they were doing lathi charge on the protesters, the farmers, getting into their houses in the villages of Navalgund constituency that I know personally, into the villages. So these kind of things kind of quashed their stand in this issue, in this entire issue. And when it comes to the Lingayat issue, whether they were in favor of the separate religion status or they were not, that does not matter. What matters is that the timing. Most voters see that the timing is extremely dodgy. Why so close to the polls? 1 year before the polls, there was nothing. 1 year before the elections, 2016, there was absolutely no noise. 2017, February, this one gentleman by name MB Patil pulls plugs and brings in all the funding required to mobilize the cadres and people, brings his own party workers, puts white caps on their heads, and takes them to massive rallies across North Karnataka. So what happened on the ground is that a lot of non-committed voters who do not vote either for BJP or Congress continuously, that is their swing voters, even among Lingayats, there are 10 to 15% of them. So those people got swayed away by these tactics. That is one thing that I would watch for, because I have noticed it on the ground. So whether or not these two issues are playing against BJP is very questionable. And if the poll numbers given by the Karvi India Today poll is right, the North Karnataka will be a virtual sweep for BJP. Based on my calculations, with 2% lag behind Congress, that is 35-37, BJP should be somewhere between 105 to 115 seats, whereas Congress will be between 85 and 90 seats. This is my calculation based on the conventions of last 3 assembly and Lok Sabha elections.
The person who has worked on the mathematical model of seat conversion.
Sachin is very confident now with his numbers.
Yeah.
How much did you say for BJP?
No. This is based on the Karvi poll.
This is not your forecast.
See,
No, this is not my
I
forecast.
agree because
see, essentially,
Amitabh,
what
please
I mean, on a lighter note, essentially, what Karvi is saying that they don't know who is going to win because nobody knows who is going to win. This is, as Vibhav sir pointed out, this is 1 month before the
if I can
elections.
speak,
If we see the surveys 1 month before the elections, let's say UP, they were all showing hung assemblies. Some were showing Akhilesh as leading, or Samajwadi Party plus INC as SLP, and some were showing BJP as the single largest party. So as we go towards the elections, I feel definitely it's going to be a clear verdict. Now, if you see the leadership angle here, while Congress is happy that Siddharamaiah is leading by 33%, if you add Yedurappa and Kumaraswamy, they are 47% in the leadership rating.
Amitabh, you lost.
As a hello.
your voice
Continue.
Hello?
You lost me for some time. Continue.
Yeah, what Karvi is saying, essentially saying that if BJP would have contested as a unified party in 2013, that is what the numbers they are projecting. Because if you add KJP and Reddy brothers factions,
Yeah, 2%
92
vote.
would have been Congress, 87 would have been perhaps BJP, 34 JDS, and 10-11 others. So they are saying status quo, essentially, if a unified BJP would have contested. And this leadership angle is going to play a clear role, because see, somebody else pointed out the Kumaraswamy angle. Everybody knows that JDS is going to be the number 3 party. Even their supporters know that they will be the number 3 party. Now, it all depends upon whether supporters of JDS or Vokaligas on a whole in the state want JDS to have a share of the power pie, or they want JDS to have some presence but want to back the party which is actually going to form the government. And they have, in my opinion, a more probability of going towards the BJP rather than the Congress, because the more JDS does better, Congress will do worse, because Congress and JDS are locked in a battle in Mysore region.
Yeah, I think broadly by that argument that the better that JDS does. I am betting on JDS doing quite well, because I think the Vocaliga voter, if there is some thinking process like that, sees that they would probably play a more important role in the power game if they vote for JDS than voting for the BJP. The BJP is seen as clearly a Lingayat upper caste party. So in that sense, I think that it's what it is. But anyway, one thing that we've seen in UP and elsewhere as well is the BJP's ability to attract the younger, you can say younger voters of any caste group. So even if you look at Yadavs, even Dalits in UP, BJP is able to attract the younger voters even during this election. So I think the risk for Kumaraswamy will be amongst the younger voters, if at all. But I think the grassroots response the last 2 weeks has been quite good. So I think they'll cross 20% or thereabouts, and will end up with whatever 30-40 seats. I think for BJP, I don't know if they made a mistake, but Yedurappa, for whatever reason, is not picking up the kind of momentum one would have expected. And given that the addressable market or addressable vote share for the BJP is much smaller, and Amitabh, I and you wrote a paper about this in UP as well, where BJP had a very large umbrella coalition that they could address. In Karnataka, that umbrella coalition is a little smaller. So Yedurappa's ability to expand on that umbrella is quite a struggle, and which I think they did very well in UP. So in that sense, I think I am not expecting a sweep or even a large swing towards the BJP even closer to the election. I think that vote shares are quite tightly going to remain where they are. However, with respect to the Karvi poll, I think they are underplaying BJP, and historically, the person running the poll has been underplaying BJP. That's my understanding from the last 6 years' data. I expect the seat share to be a little more favorable to the BJP than to the Congress. and I'm not even getting down to what will happen after the candidates are announced. So if you ask me overall at this moment, I think it looks like a BJP JDS coalition government in the next election. That is what one can feel today, and this might change over the next 3 weeks. Yeah, Sachin, go ahead.
So there's an interesting aspect to this whole Congress versus JDS fight in the South. What has happened in the past 2-3 years, especially after the first 2 years were not so turbulent for Siddaramaiah. The next 2 years, the last 2 years have been somewhat sketchy, if you say, for the Congress in the South Karnataka. What has happened is that Siddaramaiah had this long-standing, I don't want to say enmity, I would say political coalition with the Vocaligas, especially after coming out of JDS. He tried to project a non-Vocaliga umbrella to unify the entire non-Vocaliga castes of the Hindu base with the minorities in South Karnataka, in every constituency in South Karnataka. But at some level, this crossed a limit where it entered into the administrative and governance matters, where it clearly where it clearly went out of control. There was damage control by some of the Vocaliga leaders of Congress in South Karnataka, but that clearly did not work out. What is now perceived on the ground? The other day, I was talking to a friend from Mysore, who is very objective, journalist. What is now perceived on the ground is that Siddaramaiah is the most anti-Vocaliga chief minister the state has seen. More anti-Vocaliga than Devraj Aras. And Vocaligas play such a big role in South Karnataka that in some of the assembly constituencies, 60% of all the voters are Vocaligas. So now looking at the broad numbers, it seems like Congress is going to take a big hit in South Karnataka, especially with the Lingayat issue that they have played. South Karnataka Lingayats were not as sympathetic towards Yediyurappa and BJP as North Karnataka Lingayats. That's the reason why he shifted his entire base to Shimoga, though he was born in Mandya. His village is in Mandya district.
Yes, yes.
That's the reason. So what has happened is that Lingayats and Vocaligas are forming strategic coalition in select seats in South Karnataka where Congress might still trump this arithmetic, thereby making Congress's life even harder in some of the seats of South Karnataka. For example, his own seat and the seat that he's giving up for his son, Chamundeshwari and Varuna, both the constituencies, Vocaligas and Lingayats form more than 1 lakh electorate, 1 lakh voters in both constituencies. So if the turnout differential, what I'm looking at here is turnout differential. There's no incentive for either OBCs or the minorities to vote in big numbers here. They're going to vote in the same proportion that they voted before. But there is a huge incentive for Lingayats and Vocaligas to vote this time in big numbers because they want to defeat Siddaramaiah. So if the turnout differential is large, that is 2 to 3% skewed in favor of Lingayats and Vocaligas, I think Congress is going to lose majority of seats in Old Mysore. And even if they perform decently in Hyderabad, Karnataka and Mumbai, Karnataka, we are looking at somewhere around 80 to 90 seats as the higher level for Congress. Right.
Okay, so we have an audience question. Vetrivel, you wanted to ask a question. Please go ahead. Vetrivel, are you there?
Okay, we can take the questions in the chat.
Yeah, just go ahead. Just go ahead. Who want to take this? Can you explain RSS role in this election and how effective this would be for BJP?
Yeah. As far as Karnataka is concerned, both BJP and RSS have very strong cadre base and a very committed cadre base.
Sure.
You must remember that the last 3 Lok Sabha elections, BJP has consistently got 19, 18, 19, 17 and 18 seats.
Sure.
Even when BJP was at its lowest in 2009, Karnataka gave 19 out of 28 seats to to BJP.
Sure.
That is mainly because of the cadre base that the party has and the base that Sangh has. One can remember that during Ram Janmabhoomi movement, a lot of support poured in from Karnataka. That is the base that BJP and the Sangh have built in Karnataka across the state, except of course in Old Mysore. It was strong in Old Mysore, but somehow it fizzled out after 2003-4. So the thing is, what RSS plays, what role the RSS plays is that booth management. They're taking over booth management from the traditional BJP cadres. There is a two parallel systems working for BJP. One is the cadres of the party, the other one is Sangh. Every constituency has a prabhari who's looking after the constituency, who is forming booth committees. Every booth committee has 8 to 10. I'm saying every booth of the constituency has 8 to 10 Sangh cadres. That's a huge number in itself. Neither JDS nor Congress can match up to that number in any constituency. I'm saying in districts like Kolar and Chikbalapur and Mandya, where BJP has no base, they have built up booth committees. RSS has built up booth committees in every single booth with 8 to 10 members. That's the kind of mobilization. At the end of the day, in a waveless, closely fought election like this one, booth management and get out the vote is extremely important. I think that will make all the difference.
I add a little bit on the get out of the vote. I think get out of the vote, in my view, is very, very critical in elections like this.
Yes.
But my own study of Karnataka elections in the past has been that the BJP's ability to mobilize vote is much weaker than probably many other states. But we'll see this time. As you said, they're better mobilized this time. I think that the BJP's dependency on urban vote is way, way higher, and it will be the case even in Karnataka. And the RSS ability to mobilize urban vote is, I think, extremely questionable. And I can say this from 120 urban constituencies in the country, that the best way to mobilize people in the cities has always been the old-fashioned media and social media manner. And I think in that sense, in the rural and semi-urban votes, the RSS role, I think, will be extremely crucial, much more than the urban vote. I think for the BJP, the big risk in the urban vote turnout is that the urban vote dissatisfaction levels with the BJP are increasing. And particularly, if you look at Modi's ratings itself, which are at about 51 versus 75. So that's a little bit of a risk in my view. But yeah, I agree with you that the RSS role will be important, and it will be particularly important in semi-urban and rural, where voter mobilization is in greater control of the cadre than in urban, where mass media messaging is a bigger factor. I'm not saying that local volunteers cannot, but the accessibility issues are so bad that it's increasingly difficult for local people to mobilize as much.
I'd like to add a point to this.
Sure,
as an effect. BJP, I think Sangh has realized this very well, and somehow they have strategized to concentrate more on the rural pockets.
Very good.
Yeah, they have done that over the past 1 year. What I can give you an example. There's one constituency called Mayakonda in Davangere district. It's 100% rural. There are no towns in the constituency. It's just villages. It's a constituency of villages with 0 urban voters. In that constituency, it's a closely fought election there. I was there 2 weeks ago. In that constituency, there are around somewhere around 300 booths, I guess. And in that constituency, every booth has 25 to 30 booth workers. This is the kind of mobilization that they have done. So I think this is going to play a very crucial role. So this time they have shifted their focus towards the rural areas.
Yeah. I think that's this time that's going to be one thing that I noticed was that we were trying to get some research done out of Karnataka, and we were not getting people. It seems everybody is busy in election work in Karnataka. So unemployment rate in Karnataka this time will be very, very low. And,
Till
and
the elections are over.
yeah, until the elections are over, unemployment rate in Karnataka will be very, very low.
Yeah.
But we were struggling, and therefore we had to refuse work because we just didn't have people on the ground, and it's affecting a lot of people right now because of the election. And what I think the Congress and JDS are going to do in terms of mobilization is replace regular party workers with a lot of outside third parties. So there's a big third party business going on right now.
True.
Third party is not about relationships. It is about a little more of transactional that way. So, but it's there. That's the model that has to be used. There's no choice. We'll avoid questions on specific constituencies and get into a little more serious questions. Reverse mobilization. Anybody believes there will be reverse mobilization? I'm just activating it.
No. Reverse mobilization towards BJP? No.
No. Yeah, you're saying no.
No. Reverse mobilization towards BJP, other castes than Lingayats? No. But mobilization towards BJP within the Lingayats because of the move? Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody has any other questions?
So there is this another aspect that someone asked here about Siddaramaiah choosing more than one constituency and feeling jittery about his own constituency. And if he picks a certain constituency in North Karnataka, and what would be the effects if he picks that certain constituency? So a lot of people are there are rumors that Siddaramaiah is going to contest from Badami in North Karnataka in Bagalkot district along with Chamundeshwari, because in Chamundeshwari, as I said earlier, there is a Lingayat plus Vokaliga consolidation against Siddaramaiah. But if he contests from Badami, a lot of people have been analyzing in various ways that it's going to affect the surrounding districts positively. He's going to win that seat firstly, and then it's going to affect the entire district and surrounding districts and all that. And also improve the chance of Congress in entire North Karnataka. There's an interesting aspect to this. Badami is the constituency in the state with the highest number of Kuruba voters. There are close to 60,000 Kuruba voters in Badami. But the number of Lingayats in the constituency is 85,000. Of all subsects of Lingayats, it's 85,000. There's a sentiment across the state, not just in North or Central or South Karnataka, that Siddaramaiah favors his own community over others. Look at his personal secretary. Look at the chief whip of the state government. Look at his closest allies as the ministers. All of them are either Kurubas or the SCs. So there is a sentiment that Siddaramaiah shows favorism towards certain communities, especially his own Kuruba community. And there is a small amount, I'm not saying a huge amount, there's a small amount of anti-Kuruba sentiment building up on the ground. If Siddaramaiah goes and contests in a constituency like Badami, which everyone knows has very high Kuruba voters, I think this is going to galvanize more amount of anti-Kuruba sentiment across the state. I think that's one reason why the Congress High Command is holding him from contesting from that constituency. So this I think will play a very important role. If this anti-Kuruba sentiment increases over the next 2-3 weeks, let's say through whisper campaigns by the other parties or whatever, that's going to affect Siddaramaiah in a big way. This is because it is going to take away the non-Kuruba OBC voters away from the Congress.
I just want to bring in a new topic altogether. Amitabh, you're the expert on this. A little bit about the performance of the government.
Which government?
I'm talking about the Siddaramaiah government. The performance of the Siddaramaiah government.
Okay.
Your audio.
He is muted. You need to unmute him.
Gala daba diya. 1 second. Amitabh, is it working? Speak up.
Yeah.
Please, a little bit about the government. You have analyzed them quite closely.
I mean, see, if you categorize it into three main sections, which is economy, law and order, and the other social indicators, on the economy, the state is doing well, but not better than the some of the non-BJP ruled states, which Siddharamaiah claims to be. In fact, there is an independent CRISIL report which ranks states on GDP growth, uh, fiscal prudence, and inflation, and it has ranked Karnataka, I think, overall at sixth position, and all the states which are above it are all BJP ruled states. So on the economy, there is a mixed bag. What is very clear is that on inflation, the government has not performed well, and I see it, and I see price rise as one of the major issues highlighted in the Karvi poll. Around 14 or 18% people have said price rise as one of the major issues, and in fact, during the last 5 years, inflation has been the highest in Karnataka. So on the price rise front, I mean, people would not understand essentially. Many people would not understand FDI and investment coming in and this and that, but price rise affects everybody. On the law and order front, we've seen Bengaluru, the level of crime is increasing. In fact, Bengaluru has replaced Mumbai as the second top town among in the list of crimes, and we've seen how the Gauri Lankesh murder or the recently some Lokayukta was attacked and all. So, but on the social indicators front, its HDI has improved. On the social indicator, as Sachin was also saying, or somebody else was saying, that it does spend a significant proportion of its money on the welfare of the backward communities. So I would say it's an overall mixed bag on the performance front. Not something which will get you the votes, but I mean that's what is perhaps visible in the survey also. 38% good and very good also means 62% is average or bad. So 38% is actually lower than the other chief ministers. If you see the other elections, 38% approval rating is actually lower compared to other chief ministers.
One thing, Amitabh, I want to add here is that they're having a particular struggle with agriculture, where they haven't done that well, and that I think is a very big factor. They've been growing at, I think, probably the 7th or 10th fastest growing state. They haven't done well on agriculture. On the other hand, one place where they've done much better, particularly if you look at employment statistics, right? Particularly if you look at the government's employment statistics data, this what's that, Rojgar Yojana? No, what's that? Employment exchange data. Karnataka is the highest state when it comes to employment, particularly given its small population. So the migration from agri to non-agri is one of the highest, I think, as far as Karnataka is concerned. So that might be, helping them quite a bit. But I think agri, which, I think close to 45% of the population is involved in agriculture. And we are not one of the top performing states. So I think that's where they're struggling. And where they're doing well, particularly economically, is in the cities. In the cities, you're doing well, but your caste architecture, the kind of investments you've made in the cities has not been great. So many of the city dwellers are also very unhappy. In fact, I think even more unhappy so from an anti-incumbency perspective, the scores are not as bad, but I think the governance has been a mixture. A lot of jobs created. The per capita income is doing very well. I know CRISIL was very critical about the fiscal deficit. I've seen the numbers, that the numbers are dated, and I think they're not doing that badly. But on agriculture growth and city infrastructure, I think these are the two big issues that they're going to get. And of course, the caste equations that have got disturbed a bit. These three places they're going to struggle. They'll do well because Yediyurappa is really struggling on the leadership front. They'll do well because particularly the BJP has not proven to be very strong outside some regions. They'll do well because Congress has got a history of relationships at the ground. I think these are three reasons why they'll do well. So if you take together, they're going to have a fairly neutral kind of performance. Joshi ji, you want to add something on this?
Not everybody understands it. People don't even educated people I have seen don't understand the difference between the role of MLA and municipal councillor and MP. So the issue is politics is all about perception. For 25 years, Jyoti Basu used to blame New Delhi for everything. So performance is always average. It depends how you can blame somebody else. Two governments were formed last year at the same time, Punjab and UP. Today everything is wrong in UP and there is nothing wrong in Punjab. Why? Because poor Yogi has no luxury to blame someone. He can't blame Jetli or Modi or Amit Shah. Whereas everything that is good in Punjab goes to captain, everything that is wrong goes to central government.
Maybe he can blame Amit Shah.
That doesn't work, you know. That becomes very distinct. So,
ask Amitabh. There are a few things you can blame Amitabh. You can blame Amit Shah.
You have to find an in-house bakra then. But tell me honestly, I'm today I'm not talking like a like a party sympathizer. Two governments were formed 12 months back. Today, nothing is wrong in Punjab and everything is wrong in UP. Of course, the sizes are not comparable. Punjab is 1/6 of UP in size, but it depends how you need to have. For 25 years, Jyoti Basu used to blame Delhi for everything, and that is how he survived. Because I don't know how you say it in Bengali, but he used to say, "Delhi ne paisa nahi diya." So I think performance everywhere is average. People are generally not satisfied. If you are lucky, you have someone to blame, which can be Delhi or your local municipal corporation. And like in Mumbai, it used to happen, the municipal commissioner used to report to CM, but Congress was always able to blame Shiv Sena for the mess that municipal corporation has got itself into. Because not everybody knows that, even educated people don't know that the municipal commissioner reports to CM and CM was with Congress for 15 years. Everybody thought if anything is wrong in municipal corporation, it is because of Shiv Sena. Same thing is Siddaramaiah might be running an average government. For that matter, I feel all the CMs are running an average government, but people's expectations are difficult to fulfill. It is for him to say that everything that is good is because of me, everything that is bad because of central government, be it GST, flawed implementation of GST or demonetization, rural distress, Dalit Utpidan, Mahila Utpidan, and Berojgari, and that is always there. When I was in class 7th in 1980, I wrote an essay on unemployment. Unemployment. So somebody asked, Mr. Vilas Mutteshwam, who was a member of parliament of Nagpur, he says, "Sir, महंगाई एक मुद्दा है क्या?" He says, "I have fought 11 elections. There is not a single election where महंगाई is the mudda. Mahንगाई, Berojgari, rural distress, these are evergreen songs. You can sing them whenever you want. It is that you always need some bakra to blame, And otherwise, you have to be lucky like Sheila Dikshit. Of course, her mandate was very small, despite having a NDA, UPA government she could win in 2008. Otherwise, you need somebody to blame. So I think in that respect, I don't put too much importance on, look at Shivraj Singh Chauhan, with 20% growth in agriculture sector, he is struggling today. Is growth the criteria, you tell me? I asked somebody, boss, in almost 20% growth rate you have in agriculture sector in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, I have not seen lift irrigation type projects which have been executed in Madhya Pradesh under his leadership, under NVDA, this department called NVDA. They come up with huge lift irrigation projects and he has done them well. But still he is struggling. Why? Because the baggage of incumbency keeps increasing and slowly you have nobody else to blame. So the poor fellow is struggling today, there are other things. People say there is no industrial growth, and then there are other way of looking at it, that in landlocked state it is very difficult to have, industrial growth. So you can keep on debating that. So I think performance is a very, very vague term.
I think it's about presentation. But okay. What we'll do is we've got 5 more minutes. So each one gets 1 minute to close. Is that fine? So
Sure.
Sachin, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So the most important aspect of this government that all of us were talking right now about the performance of the government, you go and ask the people on the ground, why do you think Siddaramaiah has done well? They would say maybe or yes. Most of them say maybe or yes, and dig a little deeper and ask them, why do you think so? They say he has completed 5 years. if this has to be the most important reason for you to be perceived as someone who has done well, then just imagine what you have done on the ground. So this is the most. If you go deeper and ask them what has he done well other than completing 5 years, most would say I don't know. So that is the kind of governance or the performance that the state government has done over the past 5 years. So as far as that is concerned, Karnataka has very high expectations for re-election. So that all this goes against the re-election. History goes against re-election. Performance of the state government goes against re-election. A realignment of the opposition goes against re-election. So what we are looking at is a potential hung assembly, probably with BJP as single largest party, maybe 10 to 15 seats ahead of Congress. I think this is what we are probably looking at.
Very good. Amitabh?
Yeah, I think it's the election is more about the relevance of the Lingayats and the Vokaligas in the state. So they fear that if Siddaramaiah wins again, it will be damaging for these two sections. So these two sections will get along together and try to defeat the Congress. I think BJP will win or emerge as a single largest party, and with the help of Vokaligas, because JDS in a sense may not be able to support Congress. They will be able to form the government because it's still early days, and if Modi comes and does 1 or 2% swing, the 1 or 2% swing will translate into more seats for the BJP versus the Congress.
Joshi, please.
I'll repeat 2 elections. 80% seats Congress versus BJP, 20% seats JDS versus Congress. JDS does not carry any anti-incumbency baggage, so they can say whatever they want. In 80% areas, who has the bigger anti-incumbency, who is able to catch the narrative, whether Siddaramaiah can say everything is good because of me, everything is bad because of central government, he would prevail. Lot of it will depend upon candidate selection, last minute, last mile campaign, bringing out people to the booth. So still an open election. I don't know. I don't know. Narrative at a national level is against BJP. Let's not deny that. Okay, anybody denying that is denying it at his own cost. We did that in 2013 and we paid price for that. You want to deny that? Do that. Narrative at the national level right now is not with BJP. Whether it is with Rahul Gandhi, somebody might ridicule him. I don't know. But definitely at a pan-India level, narrative is not with BJP. But please also don't forget that anybody who is having 122 MLAs has a huge risk of having anti-incumbency at constituency level. That we'll have to see which anti-incumbency plays bigger, whether local anti-incumbency plays a bigger role or whether they are able to put all the blames on central government. That will be the mobilization. That will depend upon the mobilization skills of both the political parties, and all of them have their own strength. BJP has RSS on its side, which was not the case in Phulpur, and I saw people, 20% people voting in, I think, Allahabad West and 30% in Allahabad North. Average polling in Allahabad city was 25%, in Gorakhpur it was 33%. If RSS BJP chemistry doesn't work like it didn't work in Phulpur and Gorakhpur, the turnout would be less in the areas which are favorable to BJP. But I hope it will work. I hope it should work. 1 month is a long time. They must have learned their lessons. For Congress, this is the only state where they are well equipped, well funded. They have people like D.K. Shivkumar on their side who can still run a very robust campaign without depending upon Motilal Vora and Ahmed Patel for finances. So I think it will be a keenly fought election. 2 things, like I said, 20% seats where JDS, how aggressively they will be able to counter with Congress, and 80% seats which anti-incumbency ultimately prevails. Who brings his voters to the booth? Who manages the coalition better? How the Congress has, they have 122 MLAs. They have to understand they carry the baggage of anti-incumbency, which everybody does. Only thing is, this government is only 5-year-old. As you become older and older, the anti-incumbency baggage becomes heavier and heavier. They are only 5 years old, and out of that 5 years, 4 years, there was a different government in Delhi, so they have the luxury of blaming everything on everything that is good with them is because of them, and bad is because of central government. Old Jyoti Basu model. So, interesting election, open elections. I don't know what will happen. I don't know which way JDS will go. Their track record of I know what happened in 2007, 2008. I've seen that happening between BJP and Mayawati. 6 months we will rotate and you become election 2.5. That doesn't work. And it doesn't work particularly with people like Mayawati and these JDS people. It doesn't work with them. They cannot work in that model. They'll become for 2.5 years, then walk out of the government. So both BJP and Congress should keep this in mind, that if they go with them, there's a risk that they will ask for the chief minister's. They will not compromise on chief minister's chair. They will ask for the chief minister's chair, and in the first 2.5 years. And after that, what they will do. So that risk remains. But people take risk. Everybody take risk. No, not everyone is like Congress when they gave, Muhammad Said CM's seat in 2002, despite having more MLAs on their side. That was a different experiment. Other than that, nobody does it. And nobody wants. The only place where I saw CM seats going to smaller party was in 2004 in Maharashtra, when Congress had less number of MLAs, NCP had 2 or 3 more, but still overall coalition said that let there be a Congress CM. So CM there is very important. JDS will ask for its price. They will not compromise on CM. In a state like Karnataka, where you can control Bangalore and all.
So, quick, I think my take is very clear. There's going to be a JDS government next, that is clear. Whether there's going to be a JDS-led government with Kumaraswamy as the CM or a BJP-led government in alliance with JDS is to be seen. But that is my bet. I think insofar as the Congress is concerned, they are, I think, well placed in a few constituencies, 60, 70, where they'll do well. If they can get their anti-incumbency at the seat level right, they can go close to 90 or maybe 100. I think any figure above 100, I think, is quite tough. There is a huge swing on the ground that none of us are catching. As far as the BJP is concerned, I think they're looking comfortable at around 85 to 95. And if they can get the ground game right, they can go even above 100. The moment BJP goes above 100, they'll form a government on their own. There are a variety of ways to do it, and all the politicians know what I'm talking about. So if you look at the game today and say who is best placed in this election, I think it is JDS. Who is second best placed, I'll give the edge to BJP, and third best placed, which is Congress. One thing that many Congress supporters will come and say, hey, look, we are running ahead and we are getting understated. I think the way I see it is that 12 months back, Congress was way, way behind. And I was in Bangalore it was far worse than they are today. What Congress has managed to do over the last 12 months is pull back a lot of the anti-incumbency, both from Siddaramaiah and as well at the constituency level. And I think that is the big story for the Congress. The fact that over a 12-month period, they were able to run a very aggressive marketing campaign. I think that is a big thing for them. But otherwise, as everybody said, I still give the edge to JDS. I think it's a little unconventional. And I know they will not win a majority, but probably they'll still be a part of the government. So yeah, that's my final word. So we'll close. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Amitabh. Thanks, Sachin. Thanks, Joshi.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. This was the first time we were doing something like this, so it was a little difficult to get everybody to come on board on video. But I think the next time we do it, we'll probably do it a little differently. But it was fun. I think it was very, very fun. Sachin, fantastic seeing you on video for the first time. Amitabh and Joshi ji have met before. But it was good and fantastic grassroots experience. Amitabh obviously is the guru of having consulting for so many years and writing millions of lines. Joshi ji gives you all the historical perspective and a lot of practical perspective.
I am a Bombay person. I'm a Bombay person from the infrastructure sector. So I can tell you, I'll tell you why. Can I add one thing? The reason why I'm not able to catch this election is because one way I catch the election is where is the money going from Bombay. The only time that hypothesis failed was in 2004 when the money was going to BJP, it was going to Pramod Mahajan, but Congress had won. And other instance was last year UP election. It was a multi-phase election, 7-phase election. Up to third phase, the money was going to Samajwadi Party, and then slowly started going to BJP.
No, sir, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't think so. I was on the ground. I don't think money was coming to Samajwadi Party at any point.
I tell you, I have.
Maybe it was going to someone in Samajwadi Party, but it is not coming to the party.
I'm the best person to answer that. In this election, the problem is the money is not going from. That's what I say. The money is not going from Bombay, and that is why I am not able to put my finger as to where the election is heading. When the money flows from Bombay, I can put my finger and tell you. The only time that finger failed was in 2004 and partly last year in UP. Otherwise, the money where it goes, you can make out where the election is going. That is why Gujarat was interesting last year. I mean, yeah, a lot of money went to Congress. And that
one last thing that wherever the money goes from outside into Karnataka, doesn't matter. In the state, Congress and BJP both can spend massive amounts of money. Both of them have resources, and BJP can outspend Congress by 3 to 4 times.
I don't live in,
Sachin, I don't buy that. I would have bought that in any other state, but not in Karnataka.
No. I'm not saying the state leaders of BJP can.
Oh, you're saying outside. No, but the fundraising from the outside this time compared to UP is much better than this time. Yeah. I think this time the resource availability is not as strong as UP. I know UP. I'll tell you what was the ratio at the end. It was 1:5. And anyway, leave it. We're digressing, so we'll close and have lunch. Thank you so much, everybody. It was wonderful talking.
Thank you.
We'll have more sessions before the election.
Sure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.